So I've been sitting on this list for a while now, and I think it's finally time. Today I'm recommending 8 movies, and I'd bet money most of you haven't seen at least 4 or 5 of these. These are the ones that are just sitting there on Netflix, Prime, and Tubi right now. Totally overlooked, totally worth your evening. Streaming links for every single title are pinned in the first comment below so you don't have to go hunting. So my bottom pick is still a genuinely great movie, and it stars Robert Pattinson. And before you click away, hear me out, because he is completely unrecognizable in this. Not in a makeup way, in a soul way. Good Time is from the Safdie brothers, who later did Uncut Gems. This one came first, and honestly, it might be the better movie. It takes place over one chaotic night in New York City, following a guy who is making the worst possible decisions back to back for about 100 minutes straight. It is relentless. There is no breathing room. You sit down thinking you'll watch a movie, and then suddenly it's 2 a.m. and you're sweating. What makes it work beyond Pattinson just absolutely going for it is the visual style. It's neon-soaked, it's grimy, it's shot with these tight, intimate close-ups that make you feel like you're physically inside the panic. And then there's a score by Oneo Trick's Point Never, this pulsing electronic thing that basically becomes your heartbeat for the runtime. It doesn't follow typical thriller rules. It's unpredictable in ways that feel genuine rather than gimmicky. And Pattinson plays this frantic, manipulative, weirdly devoted criminal in a way that makes it impossible to look away, even when he's doing something you completely disagree with. If you like the Safdies, if you liked Uncut Gems, go back and watch this one immediately. It's that film Good Time.
If I wanted coffee, I'd have rung for it.
He thinks he's God Almighty. They all do.
Now this one is a complete tonal shift, but stick with me. Gosford Park is Robert Altman doing what Altman does best, which is throwing an enormous cast of incredible actors into one location and just letting the whole thing breathe and collide. On the surface, it's a 1930s English country house murder mystery. Rich people, a shooting party, butlers, tweed, very classic setup. And then someone ends up dead. But the murder is almost beside the point. What Altman is actually doing is this precise surgical dissection of the British class system. The wealthy guests upstairs are petty, desperate, and completely oblivious. The staff downstairs sees everything and says nothing, at least not to their employers. The film gives both worlds equal weight, and that tension between them is where all the real drama lives.
Worse than that, he's an actor.
What about that low bullet that nearly killed him that morning they were out?
The screenplay is by Julian Fellowes, who later created Downton Abbey. This is basically Downton Abbey's meaner, smarter, older sibling. It doesn't romanticize the past the way Downton does. It looks at it clearly and finds it pretty hypocritical. Altman shoots it with overlapping dialogue and a roaming camera that makes you feel like you're genuinely eavesdropping. No character feels minor. Everyone's got something going on. If you're into dialogue-driven films that reward your attention, this one delivers in spades. That film is Gosford Park. I'm going to be careful here because this is genuinely one of those movies you should go into as blind as possible. So I'm going to describe the feeling of it rather than what actually happens in it. You know that feeling in a long-term relationship where you look at the person across from you and think, is this who I fell in love with, or have we both slowly drifted into slightly different versions of ourselves? This film takes that feeling and builds a psychological thriller around it. Mark Duplass and Elizabeth Moss play a couple who are clearly struggling. Their therapist sends them to a retreat house to reconnect, and then things get weird. Quietly, at first, then increasingly, disturbingly weird. The tone lives in this uncomfortable no man's land between sci-fi, romantic drama, and psychological thriller. It never fully commits to any one of those, which is exactly right for what it's doing. Elizabeth Moss is doing something genuinely complex here. She's carrying multiple emotional realities at once, and she does it with barely a word. Duplass matches her completely. At 91 minutes, it wastes nothing. Every single scene is doing work, and the questions it leaves you with about identity and desire and what we actually want from the people we love, those sit with you after it ends. That film is the one I love.
I got him, try to run. Pit him, man, pit him.
This one I want to warn you about up front because it hits harder than you expect it to. In the Watch is a cop movie on the surface, but what it actually is a bromance, a genuinely warm, completely believable friendship between two LAPD partners played by Jake Gyllenhaal and Michael Pena. Their chemistry is so natural, so lived in, that you stop watching actors about 15 minutes in and just start watching two guys who've clearly been through things together. Director David Ayer, who wrote Training Day, shoots it in this raw, documentary-style, handheld way that makes everything feel uncomfortably real. The action sequences are brutal and tense, but the quiet scenes between the two partners are just as gripping. That balance is what makes this special. Michael Pena gives what I'd call a career best performance here. He's funny, warm, completely human, and the film absolutely uses that against you as things escalate in the third act. Supporting cast is also stacked. Anna Kendrick, America Ferrera, David Harbour. Everyone's doing good work, but it's the two leads that carry this thing. This movie will make you laugh, it will tense you up, and then it will hit you. That's a promise. That film is End of Watch. Real quick, if you're still watching, you've clearly got good taste. So if you haven't subscribed to Filmflix yet, now's a good time. Hit subscribe, drop a like on the video. That's genuinely how I keep finding and bringing these hidden gems to you. We're building a community of people who care about actual cinema, and I want you in it. All right, back to the list. Now I know wuxia films can be a tough sell if you didn't grow up on them, but Shadow is less a martial arts movie and more a living painting that occasionally has sword fights in it, and I need you to hear that distinction. Zhang Yimou, the director behind Hero and House of Flying Daggers, does something genuinely audacious here. He strips the entire color palette down to black, white, and gray. The costumes, the sets, the sky, the water, all of it desaturated. And then when the violence comes, it explodes against that gray world in this jarring, operatic way that makes every fight feel mythological rather than just physical. The story involves court intrigue, doubles, a hidden king, a warrior recovering from wounds. It's layered, more so than you'd expect going in. Think of it like a chess game, where everyone believes they're the one moving the pieces. The action choreography is inventive in ways I genuinely didn't anticipate. There's a sequence involving umbrella weapons in a rainstorm that is one of the most visually creative fight scenes I've watched in years. Sounds absurd, it is extraordinary. If you paused any random frame of this movie, you could hang it on a wall. That's how meticulously composed it is. That film is Shadow.
All right, we're in the danger zone now. The Wailing is a Korean horror mystery set in a small village where people are getting sick, going violently mad, and dying. The guy investigating it is a bumbling, completely overwhelmed police sergeant who is plainly not equipped for what he's dealing with. And that gap between the horror unfolding and the out-of-his-depth man trying to stop it creates this wild tonal cocktail of genuine dread and dark comedy that only Korean cinema seems to be able to pull off. Director Hong Jin-ha, who made The Chaser, builds the atmosphere slowly and with precision. Rain, mud, shadows, strange strangers in the woods. It all accumulates, and then you realize you're deep in something genuinely terrifying and you can't quite identify the moment it happens. The exorcism sequence in this movie is one of the most intense set pieces in recent horror history. Not because it's gory, it's not, but because of the pacing, the sound design, and what it means for the people involved. It doesn't resolve cleanly. It's not supposed to. The film asks enormous questions about faith and doubt, and what you do when the evidence points in every direction at once. It is admirably vexing, as someone once put it. That film is The Wailing. This one feels like a half-remembered dream, the kind where everything makes emotional sense, but the geography is wrong and you can't quite explain it when you wake up. Transit is based on a World War II-era novel about refugees trying to escape occupied France, but director Christian Petzold sets it in the present day. Modern cars, surveillance cameras, contemporary clothes, and yet the desperation, the urgency, the people waiting for papers to escape a nameless, undefined fascism, completely unchanged. The effect is deeply unsettling in a way that feels very deliberate and very current. Franz Rogowski carries the whole film. He plays Georg, a man who accidentally inherits a dead writer's identity and slowly becomes a ghost of himself, caught between who he was, who he's pretending to be, and who he might become if he just stayed. It's a Kafka-esque situation played with remarkable restraint.
Petzold shoots southern France in this bright, almost disorienting light that makes everything feel like limbo, purgatory with sunshine, which is exactly what the film is going for. It's a movie about what identity means under pressure and about whether genuine human connection is possible between people who are all, in their own way, running. That film is Transit.
You may begin.
And this is the one, my top pick, and I am genuinely a little frustrated at how few people have seen it. Frequencies is a British indie sci-fi film made on what was clearly a very small budget, and it is more philosophically ambitious than films with 100 times the money. That alone should be enough to get your attention. The premise? Imagine a world where your luck, your fortune, your compatibility with other people is determined by a measurable frequency you're born with. High frequency? The universe bends for you effortlessly, but you feel nothing, no emotion, no love. Low frequency, everything goes wrong constantly, but you feel everything deeply. And two people at opposite ends of that spectrum fall in love, even though the literal laws of nature prevent them from being in close proximity for more than about 60 seconds before reality starts breaking down around them.
What have you done to my daughter?
That is such a clean, elegant metaphor for class, fate, and the terrifying possibility that love might just be chemistry you never chose. And the film explores every dimension of it with genuine intelligence. It's structured like a puzzle box, each act revealing new layers, and it holds together in ways that feel completely earned. It's not a flashy film, the budget is visible, but the ideas in it are expensive in all the right ways. This is the movie you recommend to the friend who says they're bored of everything. That film is Frequencies. Now, before you go, my next video is one I've been genuinely excited to put together. It's all about space movies, not the fun laser gun blockbuster kind, the ones that actually mess with your head, the ones that use outer space as an excuse to ask real questions about what it means to be human. 10 films, all streaming, all delivering. That one's on screen right now. Go watch it. I'll see you there.